Okay, so what if the question does not ask you to differentiate with first principle or from first principle, but rather just tells you to differentiate? Then what we have to do is we have to use our rules. Now the rule says take your exponent and times it with the coefficient. And then you take your exponent and say minus 1. So take the exponent times with your coefficient minus 1. Now, like we said in class, is that 3 doesn't have an x with an exponent. This is technically x to the power of 0. Now, what's going to happen if I say 0 times by negative 3? That's just going to become 0. 0 times by x to the power of 0, which is 1, is just going to be 0. So the constant value falls away when I differentiate with using my rules. So in other words, what's going to happen, so this is g of x, and the derivative is going to be g with that little line x there to show that it is the differentiation. So now what we do is we say 2 times by 2 is 4. X to the power of 2 minus 1 is 1. You don't even need to write that 1 like a normal grade 8 sum. Now we say plus 4 times by a half is equal to 2. X to the power of 4 minus 1 is 3. So your answer here is just going to be 4x plus 2x cubed. If I give you another example here, let's say f of x is equal to a negative 3x squared plus 5 square root x. Now what's very important here is that we need to have exponents, as you can see. With a square root, we don't have an exponent, so we have to change the square root into exponential form. Now remember, if it's not inside, it's on top, no? So we are now going to say, but this is negative 3x squared plus 5x to the power of a half. If it's not inside, it's on top. Okay, so this is just my function. Now I want to calculate the derivative. So the derivative of x is going to be a negative times by a positive is a negative still. 3 times by 2 is 6. X to the power of 2 minus 1 is 1. Plus 5 times by a half is 5 over 2. X to the power of a half minus 1 is negative a half. Do you agree? But my exponential laws tell me that I'm not allowed to have a negative exponent. So that means I need to bring it down. So this is the negative 6x plus 5 over 2 x to the power a half. Now you can already change this, but just to reiterate as a reminder for you, x to the power of a half, in this case it's on top, so now I need to go write it inside. This is negative 6x plus 5 over 2 square root of x. And you can go directly from this step to that step to write it as 2 square root of x. You do not even need to write the step of 2 to the power of a half.